We get a lot of questions about security and AretaCare, and what are we doing to protect your account, the data you enter, all the documents. We appreciate that you're uploading a lot of information to AretaCare, and that information is extremely sensitive. So what I wanted to do is spend a little bit of time walking you through all the steps that we take to secure your account, to secure your documents. And I won't go through all of the nitty-gritty details. I will show you, if you're interested, where to find those. But I want to do this in a way that hopefully is easy to understand if you're not overly technical and just gives you some peace of mind that we're putting a lot of effort into protecting your security and the information that you provide. Even if you don't have an AretaCare account, when you come to the site, if you click on this Learn More, you can come and learn more about the story, principles, platform. We have all these different tabs, and you can scroll through and read about those. The one I'm going to cover in this session, though, is the security tab. So if you click on security, what you'll see is a breakdown of all the different steps that we take. And I'm going to just cover these one by one. The first thing that we do is that we take measures to protect your specific account security. When you set up your AretaCare account, if you go into settings, you can set up multi-factor authentication. But we would strongly encourage that if you have access to a multi-factor authentication process, that you set that up. And that just gives one additional layer of security for your AretaCare account. We support all types of multi-factor authentication, except for text messages, because those actually can be exploited by attackers. We only support the ones that we view as the most secure methods. The other thing that we do is that we manage, when you're signed into AretaCare, how often those sign-ins expire. So if you sign in and you forget to log out, for example, the site will log you out after 30 minutes of inactivity. So let's say you're working in AretaCare, you step away from your computer, or you step away from your phone for a while. We will log you out after 30 minutes just because we don't want that to be left open and available to other people that might want to look through your information. And the other things that we do, we encrypt your password. So we encourage you to use a strong password, but regardless of the password you use, we encrypt it and make sure that it's strong when we encrypt it. And then for anything that's sensitive, so if you ask us on the site to change your email or change a password, if you have multi-factor authentication enabled, we will request you to re-verify before that change takes place. And even if you don't have multi-factor authentication enabled, we'll send you an email to let you know that that happened. So in the event that somebody got into your account and tried to change your email or your password, you'll get a notification saying that that happened. So those are the steps that we take to make sure that your account is secure. The second thing that we do is to protect the site against attacks. So as you can imagine, every website on the internet has attackers constantly trying to exploit vulnerabilities in the site. So some of the things that we do is we will lock out accounts if there are multiple failed login attempts. We'll lock that account out for 15 minutes just so that attackers can't brute force their way into your account. We have rate limits. So if an attacker tries to create lots of accounts or tries to upload a bunch of documents and it's clearly a bot, we have protections in place to make sure that those things can't be exploited. We also use Cloudflare ahead of the site to block any malicious traffic. So if somebody's trying to take down AretaCare, we have protections in place to guard the site against those attacks. The third category of security, and this is the one that is usually top of mind for most people, is what are you doing to protect data? And we do a few different things. One is all the data that you share and use in AretaCare is protected in transit and at rest. So when you upload a document to AretaCare, that document between the time that you upload it on your phone or your computer to the time that it ends up in our databases or where we store that document, it is encrypted all through that process. And then once it is stored in our databases or in where we host our documents, it's stored at rest. So if somebody were to, for example, get access to our database or get access to the document, those documents are encrypted and the information's encrypted. We also limit what can be uploaded to avoid attackers potentially uploading malicious code or other things to the site. So we control that. And the last thing we do is we give you full control over your data. So if you click delete data, we go through and we delete it immediately. There isn't, we don't keep that data on our own and have that set aside in the event that you may need it later. When you tell us to delete your data, we delete your data. Now, some of our cloud providers may have backup services and things like that, but to the greatest extent possible, we will delete the data. And the most of those backups typically will last is 30 to 45 days. But again, all those backups are still encrypted, and we've taken all those measures to make sure that your data is safe. The next bucket of security steps we take is around access control. So the sessions that you create are accessible to you only unless you invite collaborators. So we do not just assume that there are people that you want collaborating on your sessions until you invite them. We also make sure that if anybody tries to access one of your sessions without permission, that that's blocked, and we log the attempt so that we can investigate it later. And the last thing that we do is something called principle of least privilege. So, for example, when you log in, we don't just automatically give you access to all of the documents related to your session. We wait until you make a specific request to say, I want to download this document. We handle that as an individual request. So, as opposed to just unlocking all of the things related to your session all at once, we only do it on a case-by-case basis. And that, again, just makes sure it's an added level of security to make sure that we're not just exposing everything all the time. We're only exposing what's required for you to use AretaCare effectively. And then the last thing that we do is security monitoring. So we will log failed login attempts, expired tokens, any account lockouts, anything that looks suspicious, we log. And then we use AI to actually go through and analyze those logs every single day. And we get a report that lays out any unusual activity and anything that's been flagged for further investigation. In the event that it's something that is urgent, so for example, if it looks like an attacker's trying to log into the site and they're making multiple attempts, we get those updates in real time so that we can take action. And with a click of a button, we can actually shut the site down entirely. So in the event that anything were to happen where AretaCare was clearly under attack, we're able to, with one click of a button, shut down access for everybody so that we can stabilize the site, get access, and make sure everything is secure before we turn the site back on. Now, for you as a user, there's a few things you can do to stay safe, enabling multi-factor authentication, and you can do that under settings as one. Second thing is to have a strong password. So using special characters, numbers, and letters, that's another step you can take. Enabling device authentication. So if you have Face ID or Touch ID type of steps on your device, enabling those can be another level of security. Make sure that you always log in out from the site. So if you use AretaCare from a device that's not yours, make sure you log out. Again, if it's inactive, we'll log you out automatically after 30 minutes, but always making sure to log out is important. And keeping an eye out for links. If you get an email from AretaCare and it doesn't look like you weren't expecting it, just be cautious with those things. Now, we have AretaCare set up where others can't send links as though they're AretaCare. We control that. But obviously, attackers can spoof email addresses that look like AretaCare. So just be aware of emails and make sure it's coming from us and it's not a suspicious email. I always double check who's actually sending it. If you are technical and you want to go out and read more about what we do for security, you can find that in GitHub. If you click on that, this is available to everybody that wants to use it. You can review our security procedures in detail, things like rate limits and everything that we're doing, all of the different security policies. You can find all of that on GitHub. And this is all the detailed nitty-gritty things around everything that we do to keep the site safe. So hopefully this gives you a better appreciation of the steps that we take to keep AretaCare safe. We're constantly improving the site. We do every single week a review of all of our security procedures, review our entire code base to see if there's any vulnerabilities, and we patch those and resolve those in a timely manner. So you can, take heart that this is extremely important to us. It's our top priority, and hopefully this gives you a little bit better sense of what we're doing on the security front. Thanks.